That is right, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Zone with Mateo. We are having another episode for y'all today. It's December 30th, 2025, which means we just got this episode and our NFL episode next week. And season one is officially going to be over as we flip the calendar over to 2026. That is when season two of Inside the Zone with Mateo will start January 1st, 2026. It's December 30th, 2025 right now. We got two more episodes. Today is our monthly NHL and NBA power rankings. That's why you clicked it. You saw the thumbnail. It says December power rankings. You clicked on it because if you've been following us for a while, you know that unlike the NFL, where it's only 18 weeks where we can do power rankings every week, those two seasons, the NHL and NBA season, are way too long to do them every week. So we do them at the end of every month. And here is a little bit of a recap of how I power rank these teams. For the NBA, this was November's power ranking. And then for the NHL, boom, there was November's NHL power rankings. We will, of course, edit them and, re-rank every team as this month has gone because a lot of things have happened in both leagues. But before we do so, I do want to say, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow my YouTube channel here. We're at 64 subscribers right now as I'm, recording this video. I actually have it. I have the thing pulled up right now. Could it be possible? Could it be possible to get 70 subscribers by 2026? That means it's only 6 subscribers, and I'm just gonna ask. I'm not saying you have to, but we're getting a lot of views on these videos, and say most of you guys, 90%, over 90% of you guys aren't subscribed. So would you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button? We're trying to get 70 subscribers here by 2026. We already crushed our goal at 50 subscribers by Christmas. Because you guys have been absolutely awesome. And I said, hey, why not? Why not we try to get 70 subscribers by 2026? I would appreciate you guys all. And while I'm speaking of this here, shout out my friend, Andrew. And he has his own little channel here. It's all short content. Go hit that like button and subscribe button on all his videos. Subscribe to his channel. But as you can see, I am chasing him. We're trying to see who can get to 100 subscribers first. So shout out to him. Big Drew Vlogs is what you can search him up as, or Andrew Hobbin. It works either way. But go ahead and check that out. You can also find his channel in my channel and on the home tab. It should be to go. That link to go to his channel as well. So go ahead and find that out. But without further ado, let's get into it. I think we're going to start with the NBA because the NBA is, I believe, going to be interesting to talk about here. Both teams for me, both Minnesota teams, the Wild and the Timberwolves, both played last night. But I watched a lot of the Timberwolves games, so the NBA is fresh into my mind. There's not a lot of games on tonight. But I said, here, let's start in the NBA, and let's take a little bit of a look here at the Eastern Conference, and then we'll take a look at the Western Conference. So obviously, I'm going to do a little here overview of what's happened, just the state of the NBA right now, and then we will do my power rankings. So the Detroit Pistons still in first place by only one game, though, sitting at 24-8, and then you got the Knicks right behind them, a game behind them at 23-9. 3.5 games back of the Knicks, you got the Boston Celtics still without Jason Tatum, and they are 19-12. And then half a game behind them are the Toronto Raptors sitting at 20-14. And then tied for fifth, basically, about a game and a half behind the Raptors, are the Magic and the Heat, who are both sitting at 18-15. So those are your top spots here. Those teams would make the playoffs without the play-in tournament. And then these next 7 through 10 would have to play through a play-in tournament if the season ended today. That would be the 76ers, the Cavaliers, the Chicago Bulls, and the Atlanta Hawks. And then sitting outside of the play-in tournament right now are the Bucks, the Hornets, the Nets, the Wizards, and the Indiana Pacers, sitting at 6-27. A team that was in the NBA Finals last year, now all the way sitting at the bottom of the league. I'm pretty sure, the worst team in the league. We take a look here at the Western Conference, a state of the Western Conference here in the NBA. The Thunder, despite losing a couple in their last 10, they're 6-4 in their last 10. They still remain on top of the Western Conference, sitting at 28-5. but 4.5 games back of them, and they actually beat them 3 times in the last couple of weeks. The San Antonio Spurs sitting at 23-9. They are in second place, and then a game back of them are the Denver Nuggets, who just lost Nikola Jokic for a minimum of 4 weeks. But the Nuggets sit at 22-10. And then 2 games behind them, basically tied for 4th place, are the Houston Rockets and the LA Lakers sitting at 20-10. And then half a game behind them are your one and only Minnesota Timberwolves sitting at 21-12. Should have been 22-11, but we know what happened against the Nets, and that's just unfortunate. If that would happen, we probably would have been at the 4th spot, maybe even the 3rd spot, but it is what it is. Sitting in the play-in tournament spots right now are the Suns, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, and the Trailblazers, who just beat the Dallas Mavericks last night. That was a fun game to watch. And then sitting out of playoff contention are the Jazz, the Mavericks, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Pelicans. Those teams have just been pretty much the same throughout the entire NBA season so far. But we are in about month 3 of the NBA season. So we're starting to see, which teams are going to be real threats and which teams are not going to have enough. Obviously, there's still loads of time. Obviously, there's 82 games, and most teams have only played about 35 games more or less, 33 to 35 games. So there's still loads of time, but we're getting towards that time where, it's going to be 2026 soon, which means then after that, we got January, we got February, we got March, and then we got April, and then it's the playoffs. So 4 months away till the playoffs. That's going to be super exciting. Same thing for the NHL, but we're going to have to do the NBA right now. So there's a little look at kind of a state of the NBA right now, December 30th, 2025. And here was how I had ranked the teams last month. At the end, it was towards, I believe, Thanksgiving break when we did this. I had the Thunder at 1, the Nuggets at 2, the Pistons at 3, the Lakers at 4, and the Knicks at 5, with the Timberwolves 6, Rockets 7, Cavs 8, Spurs 9, and the Heat rounding out the top 10. That's all I'm really going to say here. But you can, if you're my YouTube audience, you can see it for yourself. I'm sorry. If you're listening on Spotify, just go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and watch on YouTube, because it will be easier to watch, especially for these visual episodes on YouTube. But hey, I appreciate you if you're listening on Spotify. You should be able to get the same amount. It's just you can't see everything on the screen, so it might be a little harder, might be a little more confusing. But I appreciate you guys if you're watching or listening on Spotify. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how I do this, because I haven't totally thought about this. I will hit the reset button in a second. But I'm just gonna take a screenshot. I'm taking a screenshot just so I think I had it saved, but just in case I don't have it saved, just have it so I have a reference point here before I reset, because I will hit reset and boom, 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 reset the button. The whole thing actually resets. That means because we don't even have the titles anymore, but that's all right. That works. It works. So we did have Breaking the League being the first one, because the Thunder had gotten off to an insane start, and they're still on an insane start, but I just don't think that that's going to stay right now. I think right now we're going to have finals favorites, then we'll do playoff contenders is what we had. So they can contend, right? Contenders. Then our next spot was playoff teams, just teams that will make the playoffs. Playoff teams. It's fine, it works here. And then for the 3rd spot, we had middle of the pack, then had no more than a play-in spot, and then just awful. So to be honest, middle of the pack and no more than a play-in kind of fits the same. So I'm actually going to delete this row here. Just put in no more than the play-in. So this would be teams that I could see making the play-in, but then losing the play-in and not making the playoffs. And then we had just awful as our final tier. So we'll have 5 tiers here as we power rank these NBA teams. And so without further ado, let's get into it. And let me know, guys, in the comments down below, who is your number 1 team and who is your worst team in the NBA? And any more thoughts that you have, let me know in the comments. I will interact with them as much as possible. Here, I'm still on winter break here before I head back to school in a couple weeks. So, that's why we're we're dropping all this content because I can do content almost every day because I don't have any school to do right now. But that will change in the next couple of weeks, in about a week or so. But yeah, so I will try to get back to them as much as possible. So let me know in the comments down below. We'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. As I mentioned, the Atlanta Hawks right now sit in the play-in tournament right now at 15-19. Trae Young recently came back from an injury, but they're still on a 7-game losing streak. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. It's not been looking good for Atlanta, and I do think we could be seeing a Trae Young trade eventually. Obviously, it is trade season, so things can happen. They were middle of the pack last month in our power rankings here, and I think so. Middle of the pack, basically no more than a play, and I could for sure see them making the play in. And the bottom of the East is kind of so bad, and this is where the East is different than the West. The West there's a lot of good teams and then a lot of bad teams. Right now, any of the top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference, I think, could end up being a spot in the playoffs, and then some could be in the play-in. In this point, I could see the Raptors, the Magic, the Heat all being play-in teams, and then the Cavs, the Hawks, the Bulls all being playoff teams, just because the Eastern Conference is definitely much more weaker than, I think these top 6 in the West are probably going to stay the same for almost the entire season. The ranking of where these teams will be might be a little different, but I think those 6 are probably going to be locked in to make the playoffs while avoiding the play-in tournament. But we'll see. But hopefully that makes sense. But Atlanta right here, I think the Pacers, the Wizards, the Nets, even though they are kind of cooking 6-4 in their last 10, the Hornets, and even the Bucks, because I think the Bucks are going to end up selling Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think those guys are just all going to miss the playoffs and even the play-ins. So right now, I'm not a huge fan of Atlanta, but their path to the play-in is definitely easier. So I'm going to say no more than a play-in spot for the Atlanta Hawks. And obviously, we also will rank these off of a number basis of 1 through 30. But these tier categories just give us a basis of how to rank them to make it a little more entertaining for y'all. But then we got Boston. Boston has been surprising me. Boston Celtics, they're 19-12 without Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Simons, Garza. All these dudes are carrying. Brown is definitely carrying for sure, but without Tatum, this shows why the Celtics won a couple years ago, because they are deep. And even without Tatum, they're still winning games. They're 7 games above 500 right now. They got a similar record to the Phoenix Suns, and even kind of close to the Lakers, to the Rockets, to the Timberwolves. Right now, they're balling right now. Currently 7-3 in their last 10 games. Plus 6 point differential, one of the best in the Eastern Conference. Only the Knicks have a better point differential in the Eastern Conference. They have a better point differential than the Timberwolves. They have a better point differential than the Lakers. Better point differential than not the Rockets. Better than the Spurs. A better point differential than the Spurs, who are currently on a 2-game losing streak. But they're playing really good, and when they win, they're scoring a lot of points. They're averaging 121 points per game while giving up 114. So there you go. It's basically about a 7-point differential there for the New York. Sorry, I was reading the wrong stats. Boston Celtics are averaging scoring 117 a game and giving up about 110 a game. It's still about 6. It's about 7. Whatever. I'm not going to do the stupid meme thing, but the Boston Celtics, still similar numbers to the New York Knicks, as some of the best dominant teams when winning. Obviously, they can still lose, but they're still dominant when winning, and they're winning by 6 or 7 plus points. So I really like the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics without Jason Tatum too. Without Jason Tatum is a very key detail, because there are rumors that Jason Tatum will be ready to play around March. So if this team can continue going, and then you get Jason Tatum back, he eases his way back in. Once you hit the playoffs, they could really be a contender. Right now, I think they're just going to be a playoff team right now because, they don't have Jason Tatum. But once Jason Tatum comes back and they continue to do this, I think we could be talking about them being a playoff contender or even a finals favorite if something crazy happens, because I do think this team is really skilled, really gifted, really talented. And, who knows how aggressive they'll be at the trade deadline. Maybe they'll make some moves around to help, them win more games. I really like the Celtics for sure. But enough about the Celtics. We'll go about the Brooklyn Nets, because the Brooklyn Nets just beat my Minnesota Timberwolves in an absolute stupid game. Absolutely stupid game. There's no way on earth the Timberwolves should lose that game, but yet again, they sure did. And the Brooklyn Nets have been, they've been kind of balling. Right now, currently 6-4 in their last 10. They're sitting at 10-20. 13 games back of the Pistons for the number 1 seed, but right now only 3 games out of a play-in spot, and that is over the Atlanta Hawks. And I'm saying, hey, Atlanta, if you continue losing, you're on a 7-game losing streak. If you keep losing, Brooklyn is a very young. Do I think they're a talent? Do I think they are a contender? No, but I do believe that they're not just awful anymore. They were just awful last month, but they have absolutely turned the page here. And the Brooklyn Nets are no more than a play-in team, but that is a huge jump. That is a huge jump for them, as they were the 4th worst team according to my power rankings last month, which is a crazy jump. You jump a tier, and I'm telling you, you're going to jump some spots, because there are still quite a few awful teams, just awful teams in the NBA, and one of them is coming up next here in the Charlotte Hornets, because the Charlotte Hornets have just not gotten anything going. Sure, they actually have a better record than the Brooklyn Nets. They're 5-5 in their last 10. So you're saying, well, Mateo, the Brooklyn Nets, they're like the same team. Not the way I've watched. I've watched some of the Charlotte Hornets more than actually the Brooklyn Nets. And you know what? What really stood out to me about the Brooklyn Nets is that they beat the Timberwolves. Sure, the Timberwolves did not have energy at all, and that is something we could talk about some other time. But the Brooklyn Nets, they're young. Believe me, they turn the ball over quite a lot. They rush a lot of shots. But with MPJ right there, do you hypothetically trade MPJ to a playoff contending team? And then you get maybe 2 veterans on this team to kind of stabilize everything, because Cam Thomas and the other dudes on the Brooklyn Nets, believe me, they're good. They are talented. And if you get some more veterans on that team to help them, they could maybe win a playoff series, maybe win a play-in tournament and make the playoffs. But right now, I'm going to be a little more realistic and say, hey, they're no more than a play-in team. But yes, the Charlotte Hornets are just awful. The Charlotte Hornets, there is something about, sure, they have a better record than the Brooklyn Nets, but this is a power ranking. This is not a standings review of how we already did that. We already did a state of the NBA. We've been looking at the standings here. If you're on my YouTube audience, you see I just have ESPN standings pulled up right here, and that's really all we're going to use besides my power ranking sheet here, because we'll look at stats. They have the points per game. They have the points given up, the conference record, the division record, the away record, the home record, right? Because that's all you really need to see. But when you're a basketball fan, when you're a sports fan, you know the state of the teams in general. But this is just kind of a recap for y'all. And the Charlotte Hornets, despite being 11-21, one game better than the Brooklyn Nets. But they've also played 2 more games. They've played 2 more games than the Brooklyn Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets are basically tied with them, with 3 games back of the Atlanta Hawks. Imagine a Brooklyn Nets trade where some way, somehow they get Giannis. That just popped into my brain. Because they've been rumored to, they have the cap space. Could that happen? Let me know if you guys want a 2K rebuild of the Nets. I'm going to be doing a Madden 5-year rebuild coming out on Saturday, by the way. So turn the notification bell button on so you don't miss that. I had a poll set up. I'll have a poll set up on probably Friday, where you can vote for next week's gaming video. I'm just doing one gaming video a week, and it's basically just rebuild videos for random games. But anyway, that's beside the point. But Brooklyn Nets could be a fun destination for Giannis, maybe even next year if he doesn't get moved this year, but I think he will. That could be interesting to talk about. But anyway, Charlotte Hornets, there's just something about them that I just don't like the way they play, and I do believe that they will probably finish bottom 3 in the Eastern Conference this season, maybe even bottom 3 in the entire NBA. They're not Pacers bad, but they're close. They're close to Pacers bad. They're close to Wizards bad. But it is what it is. It is what it is. They can win a couple games, but the Nets can also win a couple games, and I'm really high on the Brooklyn Nets right now. So there you have the Charlotte Hornets are the first just awful team here in the power rankings. We start. We keep on going. We keep on going. Excuse me, with the one and only Eastern Conference, because we get the Chicago Bulls, another team the Minnesota Timberwolves just played, and they absolutely squashed them. The Bulls now sit at 15-17, and no, sure. I hear you guys when you say Colby White and Josh Giddey both went down with long-term leg injuries. Well, that's going to be part of the decision I'm making here. The Chicago Bulls started crazy. They were good. They were balling. They were one of my top 5 teams in October of my power rankings, but they went down all the way to no more than a play-in spot last week, and that is where they are going to stay. That is where the Chicago Bulls will stay. They're going to stay below the Nets, and the only reason they're below the Nets is because the Nets beat the Timberwolves and the Bulls didn't, and it wasn't even close. The Bulls should have been able to stay with the Timberwolves, especially the way that they played against the Nets. And I'm just going to say that I'm just using that as a basis. The Bulls right now, I trust the Nets a little more. It's a hot take for sure. But I trust the Brooklyn Nets just a little bit more right now because the Chicago Bulls are very, very injured. So I feel like that could be a very interesting discussion too, to talk about what's going on with the Bulls. What do the Bulls do at the trade deadline? And believe me, I got an episode lined up in the coming future about the Chicago Bulls because I do think it's a very interesting topic for sure. But then we got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I have no idea. I got no idea. Sure, injuries might be a thing, but the Cleveland Cavaliers won the most amount of games in the Eastern Conference last season and now sit at 8. 7 games back of the Detroit Pistons. Is it in reach to reclaim the 1 seed? It could be. But right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 4-6 in the last 10, currently on a 1-game winning streak. They have a point differential of only 2.1, making sure I read that correct. And they just have not been the same. They have not been the same for sure, like they were last year. They just haven't been as dominant. And that's just kind of, speaking facts, right? So for Cleveland here, it's a mix of where I want to put them. Last month, I put the Cleveland Cavaliers as a playoff team. They have fallen out of a playoff spot. They are currently in a play-in spot. Do I think they are better than all these teams here? No more than a play-in? Yes. Do I think they're better than the Celtics right now? No, and that is something to be said as well because the Cavs are almost completely healthy. Celtics still don't even have their number 1 star. I'm going to keep the Cavaliers in the playoff team category, but it's fluent. The list is fluent as normal, and they will be probably down towards here rather than up here at the end of the power rankings, if that makes sense. Speaking of another just awful team, Dallas. Our first Western Conference team, finally. We got the Dallas Mavericks, who just lost a heartbreaking loss last night on national television on NBC against the Portland Trail Blazers. They have lost 3 in a row, and they've just been riddled by injuries. Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, they're 2 big stars right now, besides Cooper Flag, out with injuries, long-term injuries. Davis always gets hurt. Could we see him get traded? For sure. Kyrie might not even get traded. I don't know. But Cooper Flag needs some help. I don't know what the Mavericks are going to do, but one way I could say is that could be part of the draft because I'm pretty sure you're going to get a high pick here in the draft lottery. I'm going to put you as just awful. I'm going to take you over the Hornets because you still have Anthony Davis. You have Kyrie Irving. They're just all on IR right now. They haven't been playing, but overall your roster is better than the Hornets, but you're simply still just an awful team right now. So here it is on the power ranking board. And then we got the Denver Nuggets, Detroit Pistons coming up next. These 2 teams are going to be fun to talk about for the remainder of the season. If you guys watched that Christmas Day game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, it was fire. It was a fire game. The overtime game, Timberwolves Nuggets. Jokic did Jokic things, but now he is going to be sidelined for at least 4 weeks here. I saw something here. How will by Brian Windhorst says How will Nuggets adjust without Jokic, especially because they've been riddled by injuries, but yet they are still 22-10. Will they fall? I have a prediction to make, and I do think the Denver Nuggets, currently on a 2-game losing streak, have not won since that overtime game against Minnesota. I have a feeling Nikola Jokic, I have a theory here, and I think this is another great episode. There's so many good mini episode ideas to have, so let me know if any of these things that I say we could do an episode. If there's any one particular episode theme that I, throw out that you would enjoy, let me know in the comments for sure. But here's another one, but I have a theory about the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic, as well as, and it doesn't matter. Jokic is still a very good player. He's one of the best players in the NBA. I voted for a All-Star appearance for him, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I did. He just goes absolutely crazy. He had a 52, 56 point triple double with 16 rebounds and 15 assists. Absolutely insane. But you realize the Nuggets can't really win. And now, sure, they're injured right now. But even last season, even 2 seasons ago, once Jokic came out, the Nuggets had a hard time winning games or staying in games. The Timberwolves have played the Nuggets a lot these last couple of years, so I've gotten to see the Nuggets a lot. But I have a theory here that the Denver Nuggets, might just be overusing and overplaying Jokic, especially because he's not this quick guy like SGA who can play 40 minutes a night. He's a big guy. Big guys it takes them a lot of energy to play basketball at a high level. Dude, I have a couple friends that are bigger, just bigger guys. They get tired really quickly because they're just heavier. They're bigger guys. They have a lot of muscle too. They can bench 300 pounds. But I'm just saying in general, you can't treat them like an Anthony Edwards or an SGA who's all floppy and they're just smaller. Compare them, those guys can play 40 minutes a night. I don't think Jokic can play good. He can play good. I don't think Jokic can play for that long of a time. Just because he's a bigger guy, it's a different body type. And I think the Nuggets could be overusing him, and that is why maybe he has gotten hurt quite a few times. He has gotten hurt quite a few times in the last couple of years where I've are they overusing him? It's that knee injury was a little interesting, but that's just a thought. And if you would like a full episode on that, let me know in the comments for sure. But the Denver Nuggets, this is going to be interesting to see. So they don't have Gordon, they don't have Christian Brown, now they don't have Jokic, they didn't have Cameron Thomas, I'm pretty sure. Jamal Murray and now a bunch of bench players. I think the Nuggets go on a little bit of a losing streak here, especially till whoever comes back. I want to see this injury report from the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets. So Jokic is going to miss at least 4 weeks with a hyperextended left knee. Here it is. Nuggets head coach said that Gordon hamstring could return at some point during this road trip, at the end of the road trip. Okay. So Brown and Gordon. Interesting. Okay, so Cameron Johnson will be gone from at least 4 to 6 more weeks here. But Gordon and Brown could come back at the end of the team's road trip. Okay, so they have 2 games on the road, I'm pretty sure, so far. So they have a 7-game road trip. That's insane. So, yeah, 1, 2. Gosh, they lost to the Heat and the Magic. That's sad. So maybe we see them come back against Brooklyn, Philadelphia, or Boston. But that's not all the way till the first week of January, the 4th, the 5th, or the 7th. So do we think they lose to Toronto? Possibly. Do they lose to Cleveland? Possibly. So maybe you even lose 2 more games, and that means you go to, 22 and 12. And at that point, the Timberwolves couldn't even pass you right now. And I'm saying that's why I don't count the Timberwolves out. Sure, they lost to the Nets, but everybody's so close because everybody's so good. The Timberwolves are still good at 21-12. But I think this is interesting for, you know, the Denver Nuggets. And right now, I can't put them as finals favorites right now. I will put them as playoff contenders for sure because obviously Jokic will come back and do Jokic things. But that's my little thought on the Denver Nuggets. It might be a little more negative than some people would like. Um, but that's facts. It's facts right now. And currently, I only have two finals favorites. You can probably guess who that is. We'll talk about them when they come up towards the end of these power rankings here. But I got to speed stuff up because we still got the NHL power rankings to get to as well. As we got the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons coming up. Where are they? They're number one. They're 24-8, and they are not one of my finals favorites right now. But they are still a very good team. I like Cade Cunningham. I like the way they've been playing, and I will put them right behind Denver and Denver and Jokic, as I believe they could be a contender. I think they could for sure win the East. The East is pretty weak. You're gonna have to play probably a good series between either the Celtics or the Knicks. In my opinion, those are the three best teams of the Eastern Conference, and I don't think any really other team can really win a series right now. So I think you can get to the finals pretty easily, at least the Eastern Conference Finals. And kind of same thing here with the New York Knicks. Let me just put them right there too. Like it's kind of the same picture here where they're they're really close. Like they're the same team almost. I identify them as almost the same team. Brunson and Cade kind of play the same way as well. It's kind of funny. And then you got Duran and Towns being both big offensive centers. I really like both teams in a way. They're just kind of teams that we don't talk about a lot. And well, I guess the media talks about them, but I don't. I don't know. I just don't talk about the East as much, especially because you got the Thunder, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the Lakers, the Timberwolves, all of those guys in the West Conference here, and the Timberwolves are in the West Conference, and I'm a Timberwolves fan, so I talk a lot about the Timberwolves. So I just focus a lot about this team. I don't talk about the East, and I'm saying, hey, no, the Knicks are 8-2 in their last 10, currently on a 3-game winning streak, and the Pistons are currently on a 2-game losing streak, but they were 7-1 prior to that in their last 8 games. They're hot as well. And those two teams, I think they're built really well. And I think, we could see them contending for sure. So they're going to both be in that playoff contending tier here at the end of December 2025. Now we got two more Western Conference teams. We got the Dubs and the Rockets. So where are these teams at? We already kind of did a little bit of that already. But the Rockets sitting at 20-10, and then the Warriors they are relying on Steph a lot. So both teams have very different stories here. And let's start with the Warriors because they're the first team that shows up here. Right now, they are for sure relying on Steph Curry way too much. You do not rely. If you have Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, those guys should help you a lot, but they aren't. And so it's really all Steph Curry. Steph Curry is doing everything. He needs help. We could get into that another day. But right now, with this team, without making any changes, I don't see this team making it out of the play-in. You could maybe make an argument that with Steph that you make the playoffs, but then you're a first-round exit. I just don't see it for the Warriors, and that's just all I'm going to say here. But the Houston Rockets are a very good team, and they're going to be the best playoff team right here. They're short. They're almost at a contending level, but I just don't fully trust them yet. There's some holes in that team, just like almost every team, but they are for sure a playoff team with Kevin Durant, Alfred Şengün, and Amen Thompson. I like that big three a lot, and they are a playoff team for me. We got the Indiana Pacers next, and they're just awful. We don't even have to talk about them whatsoever. It's kind of same thing with the Clippers. I could talk about them, but I've been rambling a lot, and we still got to get to our NHL power rankings. So the Clippers, the Pacers are just in the just awful franchise type of category right now. And here, let me find the rest of the just awful. I'm gonna put the Bucks in this category for sure, even though they've been, Giannis's return is going to be very interesting to see for the Bucks. The Kings, just awful in my opinion. The Wizards, for sure, the second worst team. The Pacers are just the worst team right now. Utah, I'll have some things to say about Utah here. Same thing with Portland because I watched their game a little bit last night. And then the Pels. The Pels are an 8-win team. They're pretty bad as well. So the New Orleans Pelicans will be down there as well. And as you can see, there's a lot of just awful teams. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Brooklyn Nets right now are currently the 10th worst team in the NBA, but that's a huge jump from what they were last week. They were the fourth worst team. That's like a 6-spot jump. That's insane, and you jump a tier. So that's what I was saying. Like it's gonna be insane to see the Nets drop because there are they might be in a low tier, but there's a lot of just awful teams in my opinion. And I'm actually gonna move the Milwaukee Bucks up one here because I think with Giannis, if he doesn't get traded, they could be, but I for sure think they could. Actually, I'm just gonna keep him. What am I doing? I'm just gonna keep him in the just awful category right now. But we got the Luka Doncic Lakers coming up next, and why do I say Luka Doncic Lakers? Because doesn't LeBron play on that team? Well, yeah, but man, this is Luka's team. This is Luka's team right now. LeBron, I'm sorry, you're 41. You just turned 41. Happy belated birthday. But it's time for you to retire. You don't got it anymore. It's unfortunate. It's Luka's team now. It's gonna be interesting to see how Luka takes control of this team from now on. But the Los Angeles Lakers are still a good team. They're not going to be a playoff contender because if I don't have the Rockets as a contender, I can't have the Lakers as a contender. I will put the Lakers right here. They're a playoff team in my opinion here. And I'm sorry, LeBron. It's time for you to retire. It's your farewell tour here these next couple months, and then maybe you make the playoffs. Maybe you try to compete for one more title. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's sad. I'm not a huge LeBron guy, but it's gonna be sad to see when he retires. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about it like when LeBron retires, when Steph retires, like these guys once they retire, it's like that's a big part of NBA history. And I got not teary eyed, but just like we're not gonna get to see them play anymore. It's like, what world did we think that we thought we were gonna see them play forever? But no, that's when reality comes and says y'all can't play forever. They're almost 40. Well, LeBron's 41. Curry's almost 40. I do think Steph might be a little bit more missed, but with LeBron out there too, it's going to be interesting. Kind of same thing where I was thinking about, Clayton Kershaw. He recently, I mean, I think he's done. I don't know if I'm pretty sure he retired, but like he's gone now. He's done. We thought he was going to play forever, but now he's done. He won a World Series. He won a couple World Series with the Dodgers, but now he's gone. It's just when some of the greatest athletes of that time, of that era play and retire, then it just feels like, well, who's going to be that next person? Obviously, there's a lot of up and coming people in the NBA for sure. Anthony Edwards, SGA, Victor Wembanyama, but just imagine it's like we're going to be soon, very well soon, probably in the next 2 or 3 years, see an NBA league without LeBron James, without Steph Curry, and without Kevin Durant, and many more are going to retire as they get older. It's going to be kind of crazy. Mike Conley's going to retire. It's just really interesting to think about. But as we tie it back to the power rankings, the Lakers are still a playoff team. I can't say they're a playoff contender right now because they have some holes, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do as well. And then we get the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies are kind of always in this spot. They're always in this spot. Like, I don't know. They're just always about 500, always sitting about the play-in tournament, and they can never get out of the play-in tournament. So if you thought I was gonna put the Memphis Grizzlies above Steph Curry, y'all were wrong. The Memphis Grizzlies will be a no more the play-in tournament spot above the Nets and the Hawks, but below the Golden State Warriors. And then we get the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat right now just beat the Denver Nuggets without Nikola Jokic and are currently on a 3-game winning streak, 6th seed in the East, excuse me. But where does this team go in the power ranking spot? And I don't totally trust them. I do think they're going to be no more than a play-in tournament spot as well. And of course, I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors above the Miami Heat right now. Obviously, they're in different conferences, but I trust Steph Curry a little bit more than Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. And then we got my Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh gosh, this is gonna be fun. This will be fun to talk about. My Minnesota Timberwolves. It's been a roller coaster of a season. They were sixth best team last season. They were a playoff team last month in our power rankings here. And if I put them right there, that was their spot. That was their spot last month. I'd be saying, well, are they actually better than the Rockets and Lakers? And I got to say, I got to do a reality check here. I got to put them right there. I'm going to put them ahead of the Boston Celtics because I trust them in a 7-game series more than the Boston Celtics without Jason Tatum. If Jason Tatum was healthy, probably would be doing this. But since he's not, and we already beat them without Jason Tatum and with all the other guys healthy, I'm taking the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're still a top 6 or 7 team in the NBA. But right now, that's where the Minnesota Timberwolves stand. I got more Timberwolves episodes coming up in Season 2 of Inside the Zone with Mateo. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of those episodes where I can rant about the Timberwolves or praise the Timberwolves or maybe do a little bit of both. But we have approached our first finals favorite, of course. I mean, I'm not going to kick the Thunder out right away because they just lost a couple of games. It's actually good that they lost games. It's good for the NBA that they lost games because now I had to take away the breaking the league, whole category in the tier list, that whole tier, because now we've seen their flaws. The Timberwolves have beaten them. The Spurs have beaten them a couple times. And the Portland Trailblazers have still beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder. But right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are still number one, in my opinion. And you say, well, who's number two? Well, the team that beat them. The team that beat them 3 times in the last 2 weeks is number two. The San Antonio Spurs are your second and final finals favorite. I think one of those 2 teams currently will win the NBA title against probably either Detroit or the Knicks. That's just what I'm thinking right now, but I for sure could see the Thunder, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves if they figure it out, the Lakers, and the Rockets. One of those 5 teams, one of those 6 teams making the finals for the West, because I'm saying there's way better teams, in my opinion, in the West than there is in the East. I think the East is between the Pistons, the Knicks, maybe when Tatum comes back, the Celtics. But other than that, it's a West-heavy top 10 for sure. But we still got 6 or so teams left. We got the Orlando Magic. The Magic have been very fun to watch this season. They're not a playoff contender. They are a playoff team here. I'll take them over the Cavs, put them right there. And then VJ Edgecombe, Joel Embiid, and the 76ers kind of have been having an up and down season. They were a no more than playing tournament team last month. Sorry, I'm gonna put them there. I'm gonna take them over the Atlanta Hawks. I might even take them. I'm gonna take them over the Memphis Grizzlies here. When you take a look at their standings, if you forgot where they were, currently they're the 7th seed right now in the Eastern Conference. In the NBA. And the next team we got are the Phoenix Suns. So here's the Phoenix Suns. They're in the same spot as the 76ers, but over in the West. I just think it's going to be hard for them to be, to compete in the West for sure this season. I just don't think. I think maybe we see an offseason move maybe happen, and maybe then they can try to compete. But right now, they could be a playoff team, but right now I think a play-in spot seems very much more realistic for the Suns. And right now the Suns are ahead of the Golden State Warriors in the standings, so I'm going to give them a little bit more respect here and put them ahead of the Golden State Warriors, which leaves us the 3 next teams. We got the Raptors, the Trailblazers, and the Utah Jazz. And let's talk about the Utah Jazz here. The Utah Jazz sit right now 1 game out of a play-in spot. Currently, I don't think they can make it. I don't think they're going to even make the play-in tournament at all. They're not they're going to be a just awful team, a just awful franchise, but I will put them ahead of all of these teams. That's where they were about last week. Last week they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They were the 9th worst team, and they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They don't move. They don't move a single bit. In December's power rankings, they're gonna stay at the 9th worst team. And I'm saying nobody's out. That's it for the just awful category, because we got the Toronto Raptors, who are sitting, at the 4 spot, and then we got the Portland Trailblazers. Let's talk about the Trailblazers first. The Trailblazers, that game was fun to watch. The end of the game, look it up if you haven't already. It was Mavs and the Blazers on NBC. With the Trailblazers, they're an interesting team, and I think they could for sure make the play-in, but I think that's about it. I'll put them like kind of here-ish. That's just kind of where I'm. Yeah, right there, more or less. That's just kind of towards the middle of the no more than playing teams, better than some, worse than others. That's just kind of how I feel about them. But then the Toronto Raptors have been a pleasant surprise, and I think they can make the playoffs for sure. I'll take them over the Cavs here. And that is going to wrap up my December NBA power rankings for this season. And as a recap, I will read them 1 through 30. At number 1, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder. At number 2, we got the San Antonio Spurs. Number 3, we got the Denver Nuggets. Number 4, we've got the Detroit Pistons. Number 5, we got the New York Knicks. Number 6, we got the Houston Rockets. Excuse me. Number 7, Lakers. Number 8 are the Timberwolves. Number 9 are the Celtics. And number 10 are the Orlando Magic. 11 Raptors, 12 Cavs, 13 Suns, 14 Dubs, 15 Heat, 16 76ers, 17 Grizzlies, 18 Hawks, 19 Trailblazers, 20 Nets, 21 Bulls, 22 Jazz, 23 Bucks, 24 Mavs, 25 Hornets, 26 Kings, 27 Clippers, 28 Pels, 29 Wizards, and the 30th ranked team, the worst team in the NBA, the Indiana Pacers. So there are your December power rankings for the NBA. But guess what? We ain't done. We ain't done yet because it is time. It is time to do the exact same thing here with the NHL. So without further ado, let's get into it, boys. So we will start off. Excuse me, with I don't know if we're gonna. Here's just an overview of the Eastern Conference, and I want to point out one team, the Buffalo Sabres, currently on a 9 game win streak. Definitely the hottest team in the East, and similar to the NBA, the Eastern Conference in hockey is definitely weaker in my opinion than the Western Conference. And here's a look at the Western Conference for my audio audience. I'm sorry, just look up the NBA NHL standings. We're just looking at that right now here. The Avalanche currently on another 8-game win streak, 9-0-1 in their last 10. Wild right now 8-1-1 in their last 10, 2-game winning streak right now. 3 games back of the Stars. The Stars are on a 2-game losing streak, 6-2-2 in their last 10. They're how many points? They're about 9 points behind. No, 8 points. 8 points behind the Colorado Avalanche in the Pacific. 7-3 in their last 10 are the Edmonton Oilers. They have taken first place in that division. The Canucks are doing, not too bad with losing Quinn Hughes. The Flames have come out of the middle of nowhere, won 7 out of their last 10. Currently on a 2-game winning streak. But yeah, it's interesting to talk about. We'll talk a little bit more about it as we get into the power rankings. Here were my November NHL power rankings, end of November power rankings. I had 2 cup favorites, a couple playoff teams, a lot of middle of the pack, still early to judge or like could turn around teams, and then just simply awful. Kind of similar to the NBA. I might just like kind of edit some of these names. I'm not quite sure what I want to do here, but I will reset it. What do I don't know what I should exactly name these. For sure cup favorites. Cup faves we'll just do kind of again. We did finals faves. Playoff teams. We could do playoff contenders. Let's do playoff contenders. This is what I do for any NFL. Playoff contenders and then just playoff teams. And then we do mid, and then we'll just do the just awful again teams just because that works. And we got 5 tiers to rank these 32 NHL teams. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with the Anaheim Ducks. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim sit currently in third spot in their division, 16, 13, and 9 with forward. Sorry, that was the wrong team. Ducks are 21, 16, and 2 with 44 points, sitting at third place of their division, 2 points back of the Edmonton Oilers. They're in a little bit of a slump, 3, 6, and 1 in their last 10 games, but I really like the Ducks. Last week, I had the Ducks as a playoff team for sure, and that's kind of exactly where they're going to stay. I don't see them as like a contender by any means, but I think they're a solid playoff team, and I'm going to try to go a little more quick through this. I do think my audience likes a lot of NFL and NBA stuff, so NHL I try to go as quick as possible. But hold on, sorry. There we go. Save that. And boom. Okay. So, yeah, I think the Ducks are just a really solid playoff team for sure. So yeah, as always, I was just gonna say I'm gonna try to go a little quicker because I did ramble a lot about the NBA because the NBA there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about the NHL, but for an audience that I believe is more focused on the NBA and NFL, I try to put NHL a little less, and it's kind of same thing with MLB. But we'll for sure have episodes related to all of the sports coming up if you are fans. And let me know in the comments what sport is your favorite, and I'll try to get more content for the people that like those sports. But we got the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins are coming up next here. And hold on, I just forgot to close a window. There we go. Boston Bruins sitting currently towards the bottom of their division at 40 with 42 points, 18 and 2 on a 6-game losing streak. They have been tanking quite a little bit here this month. Not a great month for the Boston Bruins by any means. The Boston Bruins last power ranking in November were in the middle of the pack, and I'm going to keep them there. They haven't done enough to be simply awful. They continue to lose out. They could end up in the just awful category, but I'll keep them in the mid category for sure. And then we got the Buffalo Sabres, who are on a 9-game win streak. Congratulations to the Buffalo Sabres. They were middle of the pack last season. I'm going to put them as a playoff team. I'm putting them as a playoff team. Congratulations, Buffalo Sabres. You have to be. I mean, you gotta deserve that when you have a current 9-game win streak, 9-1 in their last 10. Currently tied with the Florida Panthers. I believe probably is that for a wild card spot. But for sure in a weaker division with the Red Wings leading that with 49 points, you're only 5 points behind them in the Atlantic Division. So they for sure could try to sneak in as a division spot, but also a wild card spot. I like the Sabres for sure. I've been a fan of them. I like Tage Thompson. I like Dahlin. I like who else is over there? Petrarca? Is Petrarca still over there? Maybe. But Tage Thompson and Dahlin are for sure the two that come to mind. I think is Alex Tuck still over there, former Wild. But yeah, congratulations to the Buffalo Sabres. You guys are a playoff team according to my power rankings this month at least. And another congratulations to the Calgary Flames, who have started winning a couple more games, but they are still awful. They're still awful. I'm sorry. You were the second worst team in November's power rankings. You can't just jump. You could jump a couple spots, but you're not going to jump a tier spot. I'm sorry. You got to be better to jump a tier spot, kind of like the Buffalo Sabres, who are 9-1 in their last 10 games on a 9-game win streak right now. We got the Carolina Panthers next, and the Carolina Panthers, oh my gosh, bro, we are not in football. We are not in football whatsoever. What am I doing? I don't know. The Carolina Hurricanes sitting at 51 points, leading the Metropolitan Division by a couple points, about 5 points there. They're sitting at 24-11 and 3, 7-2-1 in their last 10 2-game win streak currently for the Carolina Panthers. Carolina, bro, Hurricanes. Why do I always say the Panthers, bro? We ain't in football. But the Panthers have a huge game against the Buccaneers, and we'll break that all down in our NFL episode. Week 18 episode, coming up tomorrow as our last episode of Season 1 and of 2025. Big things planned for 2026. So please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. It's a long episode, and I've been doing this. I've been doing this for about 6 or so months, trying to grind out, trying to grow my channel, and you guys have been supporting me. So I just keep asking, if you would help grow the channel, it would be appreciated a lot. But the Carolina Hurricanes have been insane. They've been really good. They're not a cut favorite right now for me, but they were a playoff team last week. And they're going to move up, not from just playoff teams, but they are going to be a playoff contender this season. This month here as we approach 2026. Carolina, I like a lot of things. They always seem to do well in the regular season, but the thing that questions me always is are they playoff ready? So it's going to be interesting to see how they do going down the stretch as we hit December. As we hit January, and then we hit the break where it's going to be the Olympics. So the whole NHL season is basically put on pause for the Olympics. So we have basically no games in February. So we probably won't even have an NHL power rankings in February just because there's going to be basically 2 games of NHL play in February. It's going to kind of be funny to see that for sure. But Carolina, congratulations. You are our first playoff team here in our December power rankings. And then we get the Chicago Blackhawks, who without Connor Bedard have been sinking fast. Back to the last spot in the division. Currently 2-8 in their last 10. They're 34 points, tied with the Winnipeg Jets for the worst spot in the division. And actually the worst team in the NHL. I'm sorry, guys. I was a fan of you guys. We did another Central Division breakdown a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, you need Bedard. Y'all need Bedard because without Bedard, you guys are nothing. You guys are now just awful. You guys sink from a playoff team all the way down to just simply awful because you're the worst team in the league. You're the worst team in the league. Watching you guys play is just sad. Spencer Knight can't get any stops. Their defense is trash. They don't got any scores without Bedard, and Bedard's still out for another 2 or so weeks. Because I know that because I have him in fantasy, and he's on my IR spot for another 2 more weeks or something like that. But I'm sorry, Blackhawks. You guys haven't been good since Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves left you. But yeah, you're in the just awful character. In the just awful tier. I'm sorry because you have been awful. 2-8 in your last 10. You guys jump. Oh gosh, I feel bad. All the way from playoff team last month to just awful. Just awful. The worst tier spot, probably even almost one of the worst spots in the entire tier. Oh gosh, on the entire power rankings. Anyway, but this team didn't move at all. The Colorado Avalanche. They're starting to be the Oklahoma City Thunder of the NHL. They will not lose. They will not lose. They are 9-0-1 in their last 10. Currently on a 8-game win streak, and they just keep on winning. They got 65 freaking points. They've only lost 2 times in regulations. They played 38 games. They've won 27 of them. They have gotten a point in 36 out of 38 games. Absolutely insane. They're definitely your cup favorite by far. And here's the other cup favorite here. It's going to still be Dallas. I like Dallas a lot for sure. And then let's just get the other cup favorite out of the way. I got 3. It's the Wild. The Minnesota Wild. I never do this. I was close to doing this last month, but I never do this. I never put the Wild. I don't think I've thought about putting the Wild as a cup favorite. A Minnesota team as a favorite for a title just seems ridiculous, but they have been playing that well. They beat the Vegas Golden Knights 5-2 last night. Their goaltending's elite. Kaprizov's elite. Boldy is playing very, very well. Quinn Hughes just brought a spark to this team and made another superstar come to this team. Brock Faber's been balling. The depth of the lines are insane. We have one of the best defensive cores in the NHL. One of the best coaches in the NHL, John Hines. People doubted him. I never did. Congratulations, John Hines. And the other 2 Central Division opponents are all going to be my cup favorites, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks that one of them are going to be out round 2 and 2 of them will be out by round 3. It is the stupidest thing. We got to change that playoff format. I don't know how you do it, but you got it. You gotta figure that out. All right. All right. All right. That's enough about that. And I'll talk. We already did a whole episode on the Central Division. So go ahead and check that one out on my YouTube channel. After that, if you've made it this far, I don't even know if anyone's gonna see this part of the podcast because they're just waiting. Just like, wow, this is such a long podcast. Well, hey, it's a long podcast. It's a podcast. You guys, if you're having a long if you have a long ride or something, like just play it on, listen to me ramble. Could be entertaining. Could be entertaining. And if it's not, turn it off. Okay? I mean, you control. You control what you listen to. I'm just trying to give you guys some good content. So let me know if there's anything I could do better as well. For sure, we got the Columbus Blue Jackets next. The Columbus Blue Jackets sit. We saw them. They sit worst. The last team in the Metropolitan Division. At 40 points in 38 games played, about 500. They're a mid team. I'm not gonna. I mean, do I say they're just awful? They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. I'm gonna put them as just awful. They jump a tier down, unfortunately. Sorry, Blue Jackets. But again, I'm trying to cruise through this for sure. We're gonna go a little quick spot here. We got the Detroit Red Wings right now, currently number 1 in their division. And I'm not going to put you as a playoff contender, but I will put you as a playoff team for sure. I'm going to put the Oilers as a contender. They're still a good team. When you have Draisaitl, you have McDavid, you're number 1 in your division right now. You're going to be a contender, in my opinion, just when you have those two of the best players, probably two top 5, top 6 players in the NHL. You've got some good players. You can't be counted out, especially if you're winning games, and they are winning games. So the Oilers are a playoff contender. I'm not going to say they're a playoff contender yet, but they will be a playoff team. The Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are still without Barkov, still without Kachuk, and are still winning games. Imagine when they get them back. Same thing with the Boston Celtics. When they get Tatum back, imagine they're winning without their star, and then they get their stars back. Panthers are a very good team. Very good team. And they are going to be playing in the Winter Classic, which is actually going to be in Florida on artificial ice. It's going to be fun to watch that for sure. But yeah, the Florida Panthers are a playoff team. I'm going to actually take them over a couple of these teams just because of the inexperience in the younger teams in Buffalo and Anaheim. The Kings, I was reading their stats off recently because I was trying to read the Anaheim Ducks standing stats. I was reading the Kings, so we know what their stats look like: 16, 13, and 9, 41 points right now, tied with the San Jose Sharks. It's been a roller coaster of a season. They're the definition of a mid team right there, so they will be that mid team for you. Then we got the Canadians. The Canadians have been, a little more. They've been pushing it a little bit more. I still don't know totally about them. They're kind of confusing. They could be a playoff team, and I'll put them as a playoff team for sure. They've proved that they can win some games, some good games. They have a pretty good record of 20, 12, and 46 points right now. Currently on a 1-game losing streak. But yeah, I don't know if it's enough to win anything, but they for sure will make the playoffs. I think I'm pretty confident when I say that. And then the New Jersey Devils. I'm going to talk about the Predators in a second, but the New Jersey Devils, 3-game losing streak right now. They're in a little bit of a hole. Where did I put them last? What did I put them last week? I put them last month in my power rankings. The Devils were a playoff team last week. Okay. Or last year. My gosh, last month. I'm going to put them as a mid team, but the best mid team that we've had so far, just because they have been slipping. So I want to say, hey, be on the lookout. I don't know if this team is as good as everybody thinks it is, but yeah, that's what we're going to do for sure. I'm saving the Predators for last because I really want to talk about them last because I feel like they're a very interesting team because they have they've jumped. The Predators are 7-3 in the last 10, and I just want to talk about them a little bit more. And so I'm going to say, let's wait till the end. Wait till the end of the episode. But we got the Islanders. They've been kind of balling too. They're going to be a playoff team for sure. The Rangers, on the other hand, and they're just mid. They're just flat out mid. There you go. The Senators, kind of same thing. They're just kind of mid. I don't really like anything about them. They have some talent. I'm going to put them towards the end here. There's a lot of mid teams right now in the NHL, I think. there are a lot of, there's those 3 cup favorites, a couple other playoff contenders, playoff teams, right? But then there's a lot of mid teams. And then a lot of teams are so close that it's hard to say which teams are just simply awful and which teams are actually contenders. Flyers, I couldn't make a case that they could be contenders. They could be a playoff team for sure. And I think I'll put them there. It doesn't hurt to put them as a playoff team. Um, 8 teams from each conference make the playoffs. So 16 teams can make the playoffs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We already only have 7. So one more of these Eastern Conference teams can make the playoffs. So we can see any of these mid teams make the playoffs, or of the remaining teams. So I'm saying, and still not too many teams to make the playoffs out of the East right now. Whether it looks like a lot, but total of 16 teams, about exactly half of the league makes the playoffs. So there's still a lot of teams that are still can be on the top half of this tier and then the bottom half of the power rankings for sure. And if that kind of makes sense. The Penguins have been falling off. They were low key rolling, and now they're just kind of falling. And I closed a window. Of course, I closed the standings window. Yep, of course I did. But the Penguins, I'm not gonna say they're just awful, but they're definitely towards the end of the mid level for sure. Um, it's unfortunate because I want Crosby to do well, but that could open the gate for maybe a Crosby to the Wild trade. That'd be absolutely insane. I don't think that it's actually going to happen, but it's been thrown around. But Crosby could get traded somewhere else as well. Um, he's getting towards the end of his career, and he maybe wants to compete, and right now he's not competing, right? So we'll see what happens there with them. Sharks, I'm still a huge fan on. The Sharks were a playoff team last month's power rankings. They've slipped a little bit, but I think they could still slip in. I'll take them over a couple of these teams. Just kind of throw them in the middle of the playoff team section here. Kraken, they're as mid as it gets for sure. And then the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues are also, this is an interesting storyline. They started off so bad, and now, they're 15, 17, and 8. They're kind of back to 500, which is mid. I'm going to keep them as just awful just so that we can get a couple other bad teams here, because I do think they're not going to do anything. I think they would be a first-round exit if they somehow make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't even think they're going to – I think they'll slip down a little bit for sure. I don't trust the Blues whatsoever. And again, I talked about them more in our Central Division episode about a week ago here on the channel. So go ahead and find that out if you want to talk a little bit more about the Central Division, because that is one of the more exciting divisions to watch in hockey right now. And let's finish it up besides the Predators. Let's do the Jets here. Jets have been bad. And then the Mammoth, I'm going to put as one of the better mid teams. They've been struggling with some injuries, I believe. That's why they have been falling a little bit. They are 18, 19, and 3 with 39 points. You're almost at a wild card spot. You're for sure mid, but I could see you making the playoffs too if you make a little bit of a run. I think they're capable of that for sure. Let's talk about the team that the Minnesota Wild beat last night in the Vegas Golden Knights. They have 45 points, 1 point back of the Edmonton Oilers, but they have 3 games less. They're 17, 9, and 11. They've been going to overtime. They've been going to shootouts a lot. And if you can't just beat teams in regulations, you've been struggling. So you are a little bit of a mid team, but I'm going to say you'll probably make the playoffs. I trust them a lot because of their experience. So they jump up to one of the top 10 teams right now so far. There's just a lot of mid teams. A lot of mid teams. That's kind of the story of the NHL. So that's why it's also not as fun to power rank for sure, just because there's a lot of mid teams, and I don't know exactly where to compare and contrast them here to make a fair power ranking. But if you have any ideas for me to do that, let me know. But we got finally 5 teams left. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning, never seem to go away. They're always in the mix. They're always in the mix of being a contender, and that's what they'll be here. They'll be the 6th best team so far. I think they're going to pretty much stay right there. I don't think any of these teams are going to pass them. So they're going to finish the month of December and 2025 being the 6th best team in hockey, which I think they'll be pretty happy with for sure. Losing Steven Stamkos a couple years ago and losing a couple other pieces to free agency. I think they'll be happy. And a team that won't be happy, though, is a division rival of them, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who I don't know what is going on with that team. They're a pretty bad team. They're a pretty bad team. I do believe in them, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're the 5th worst team right now. according to my power rankings, they've just been slipping. I don't know. I don't know. They've been falling. They've been falling down in the power rankings just because they can't win games. They can't win games. They can't score. They don't have goaltending. They've been having some problems. I don't know what's going on over there in Toronto. What's going on over there? But all I know is it's not good. So you're going to be in the just awful category. But the Washington Capitals they've been about 500, 20, 14, and 5. That's actually a really good record. I think the Washington Capitals will make the playoffs. I'm taking them over the Flyers, and I'm going to drop the Flyers down to a mid spot here to even some things up just a little bit more. And then we got two more teams left here. We got two Western Conference teams. And here it's the Vancouver Canucks, who right now are the third worst team in the NHL. Just the Blackhawks and Jets are currently worse than them, but it's only by 1 point. So obviously you would think, well, wouldn't they be in this category? I'm not going to say that because I really like this team. I'm going to put the Canucks at the very end tier of mid because of what I think overall. Power rankings are not just about record-wise, it's about the team in general, and I really like this team, and they have a lot of good potential. So I'm going to put them in that mid category, and that's where I'm going to have them for sure. Okay, so I like them at the end for sure, almost one spot away from being just awful. But I'm going to show some respect to the Canucks, even though they're not one of the best teams record-wise. I think they are still really talented. They did really well with that Quinn Hughes trade with Zeev and getting Zeev Bouillon and Marco Rossi and Liam Bogert and a first-round pick. Just really good. I really like that for sure. And in a way, it kind of made them a little deeper, so made them a little better in that sense. Obviously, you gave up Quinn Hughes, but you got Bouillon, who could even be one of the next Quinn Hugheses. He's been really talented there. He's been playing really well in there as well. But yeah, it's been really fun to watch them, and I'm going to show them a little respect here. 6-4 in their last 10 games, really good. But finally, it's the Nashville Predators. 17-4 after starting awful. They are 7-3 in their last 10, and I really think that the Nashville Predators could end up making the playoffs. This is absolutely insane. They have such a good roster on paper that you said, oh yeah, they should make the playoffs. But they had started the season so bad. They were the worst team last month, but they have had a crazy month, and this shows you that the list is fluent. They went from here to skipping the mid territory, and they are going to be at the bottom of the playoff teams category. Absolutely crazy. They have been balling. I don't know if you can ball because it's like a hockey puck, but you know what I mean. They've been playing really good hockey right now. They have that chemistry. They're scoring. Saros is playing well. They took the Wild into overtime. They beat the Wild in overtime. I mean, it was an off night for the Wild, but still, the Predators were able to beat them. And I just really, really am impressed with the Predators right now. And I think they deserve some respect. And they're going to jump a couple tiers here. And, congratulations. Say congratulations to Predators fans because they are giving you that team is giving you something to cheer about. And it's going to be interesting to see how they take the next step here, this next upcoming month here in January. And we'll see where they end up in my January power ranking. So that's going to be fun to see. But as we close today, we will go through them like we did with the NBA 1 through 32. So at 1 is the Avs, number 2 are the Stars, number 3 are the Wild, number 4 are the Hurricanes, number 5 are the Oilers, and number 6 are the Tampa Bay Lightning. Number 7, we got the Red Wings, 8 are the Panthers, 9 Golden Knights, and then rounding out the top 10 will be the Anaheim Ducks, which is interesting, but obviously the list is fluent. Number 11 are the Canadiens, number 12 are the Sabres, 13 Sharks, 14 Islanders, 15 Capitals, 16 Predators they jump 16 spots from 32 all the way to 16. 17 you got the Flyers, 18 Mammoth, 19 Devils, 20 Rangers, 21 Bruins, 22 Kings, 23 Kraken, 24 Senators, 25 Penguins, 26 are the Canucks, 27? Is it 2, 30, 30, hold on, 29, 28, 26, I think. Shoot, I lost track. I think 26 or 25. Jets, 27, I think. Leafs, 28 Blues. Yeah. No. 29 Blues, 30 are the Blue Jackets, 31 Flames, and 32. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're back. You're back at the bottom of the league. 32 are the Chicago Blackhawks. But that is going to do it for today's episode. That is my December NHL and NBA power rankings. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully, if you made it to the end of the video, comment. I don't know. What do you want to comment? What should you comment? Since you made it to the end of the video, comment W. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it if you made it to the end of the video or even just skip to the end of the video. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow our YouTube channel or my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get into the sports industry. I want to be a sports journalist once I get out of high school, once I get out of college. So I appreciate anybody who would support me and just help me grow on this journey. Hope you guys have enjoyed all this content that has been coming to you guys each and every day. During, as I'm off with school, I've been grinding. I've been posting a video almost every single day. I've been posting shorts. I did that 3.5 hour stream of the 49ers game. I just appreciate everybody who has been helping, supporting me. So please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to also subscribe to my friend's YouTube channel as well. He has some fun content over there. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to keep God first because he's the most important thing in your lives. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.